two Moist Critical videos. They're about Lego, and I'm very confused about this entire situation. I don't know what's happening. I just want to know what's happening.
I don't even know how to intro this video because there's nothing I can say that will actually do the scope of this corruption and diabolical scandal justice. But
he cannot do what he wants.
It's around Legos. And I know you probably immediately roll your eyes going, oh, well, that's probably nothing super crazy.
Please explain to me what is happening.
Buster, you don't know the half of it.
Oh, God, okay.
Has been conducted a thorough investigation on a huge Lego-related crime. It is a crazy web of malicious bad actors, shady individuals. It's like the Lego cartel. I don't know how to do this intro to really lay the foundation in a way that captures the scope because it is that big. So I highly recommend you watch his entire video. I'm going to go over a lot of it here because I have been captivated by this, and this is only part one. It actually, there's more to it, but I think it's only fitting that we start from the very beginning.
Man spent his life collecting what's now known as the world's largest Lego Star Wars collection ever. It's estimated to be worth around $200,000. And then the entire thing got stolen, and the police are actively working with the thieves to cover the entire thing up. The craziest part is that the collector doesn't even know that his collection's been stolen. Yeah, the collector's son, Brian, well, he reached out to me because he has no clue how to break this news to his dad.
So that's the surface level analysis here.
What? What are you saying? What are you telling me right now, Moist Critical, sir? Somebody stole this old man's entire Lego collection, and they're working with this sounds fake. This does not sound real.
It sounds like a full-blown fucking noir film, though. It gets so deep. But fundamentally, a individual who has spent years and tons of money accumulating an extremely valuable Lego collection worth up to $200,000 of value has had it stolen from him, unbeknown to him, and unfortunately law enforcement has repeatedly shown that they have no interest in investigating this case or helping in any way, and have instead been far more on the side of the dubious perpetrators. And this individual's son has reached out to this YouTuber Reckless Bin because he's just caught in between a rock and a hard cock at this point. Like, there's very few options.
I don't think that's the saying, but go on then.
Going through the proper channels of, like, the police, who you would expect to, you know, maybe do something about this because it is a crime. It is a big deal. That's a lot of money, by the way. But that was fruitless. They were far more interested in just shooing them away and even threatening to have them arrested multiple times. So Brian, the son, teamed up with Ben and his team to do everything they could to try and either get him his Legos back, his father's Legos back, or get them the payment that they were due for the Legos, which, a lot of money.
But anyways, the thief of this collection is actually a corporation called Bricks and Minifigs.
Bricks and Minifigs, the biggest toy store of its kind.
Is the largest toy store.
Bricks and Minifigs were not just your average Lego store.
For collectors, Bricks and Minifigs is basically seen as the best and safest way to sell your Lego collections.
I'm selling my Lego.
Now, even me, a drooling Cro-Magnon man who is not deep into the Lego community, I've heard of Bricks and Minifigs. They are a big corporation.
You know what's crazy? This is the first time I have ever heard of this fucking place ever in my fucking life. Who are these? This literally sounds like a money laundering scheme. Like, you have explained this to me, and it does not sound like a real business. This sounds like something that someone does to do, like, has to do crime. Like, this literally, okay. We live in a simulation. This is not real.
And I do know that they are considered, or at least were considered prior to this, the gold standard when it comes to selling your Legos.
Okay.
So the fact that they are the corporation that's implicated in this actually was pretty surprising to me, because they're like the only company in this space that I'd heard of. And it turns out, well, might not be all sunshine and titties over there.
I don't understand how nobody else thought this was a money laundering scheme.
Brian thought that this would be the perfect store to finally sell his dad's Lego Star Wars collection.
So I wrote up a contract.
In the contract, it says that these are still the family's Lego sets, but every time one gets sold, the store gets to keep a small percentage of each sale.
This was a store's worth of inventory. So that store that day was nothing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So you sold these Legos to the people, but you have a contract and they're not following the contract? Is that what I'm to understand what's about to be told to me?
But my dad's collection, like all the shelves filled. They had to bring in extra shelves and filled the whole party room with shelves.
But the owner of the franchise, this woman, well, her husband had to actually leave the country due to some work-related reasons.
My husband and I were planning on moving out of the country.
They did everything correct when it came to selling his father's collection to Bricks and Minifigs.
What do you mean
So
you have
they
to leave
got
the country
his
suddenly?
Library of Alexandria of Lego collection. They got the fucking one piece. And basically it was the entire store's inventory. They had to call in the cavalry in order to take it all. And the owner of the franchise, which is that woman right there that is being interviewed by Ben, made a mention that her and her husband were actually planning on moving out of the country. And when she informed corporate about this, they said that, you know what, there is a seller who is potentially interested in owning in that area. And then it went straight down the shitter. It spiraled into some degeneracy where they informed her that they were terminating her franchise agreement. They were threatening to call the cops on her. You're excommunicado here, like it's fucking John Wick.
Wait,
and she
what?
made a point to say, you know, this isn't right. This is not comfortable. I'm not leaving without doing inventory. But they wanted her out of there. You know, hit the road, Buster. And it's actually backed up by irrefutable evidence.
She was actually able to save all the security camera footage from that night, proving that everything she just said is true.
All the footage and evidence is there. In the security cam footage, it's him at the store kicking her out. In that footage they sent us is Crystal asking him, how am I supposed to pay this guy? These are sets he has not been paid for. Home Corporation is sitting there on video saying they're going to take it.
After this woman got kicked out of her own store, she called Brian explaining how corporate just came down and is now trying to take the world's largest Lego Star Wars collection without paying for it.
I feel like I have to be extremely careful and pussyfoot around what I'm allowed.
What? Okay. There's no way that is an actual corporate. There's no way that's corporate. The minute you people listen, I'm gonna link allegedly. If this is actually the people who own this fucking company, allegedly, if y'all are allegedly stealing this shit, allegedly, I want you to know something right now. You can't do that. You literally can't do that. You just can't decide that this contract doesn't exist anymore. That's not something that you arbitrarily just get to decide. You can't just steal stuff. That's not how this works. Also, if you're stealing stuff like this is a really good con to pull on people, actually. Because this company sounds stupid as fuck.
To show, but in Reckless Ben's video, he does show the security camera footage, and it does have someone go in confirming that they are taking on that business, and most notably, a very important thing that is captured on film is him saying that they also take on the consignment. That means that they are legally taking on the responsibility of Brian's Legos. At least, as I understand it, that's how it seems to be. Okay. That is something very important to remember going forward. I mean, how do you possibly wiggle your way out of that one? That's pretty indefensible. It's right there on camera,
video.
4K in the cringe compilation. It feels like checkmate to me.
Yeah, tell me how does it happen, Charlie?
Bricks and minifigs we're talking about. These are super villains here. We got some like actual diabolical demons in that food chain. So Brian, the son, reached out asking, well, what happened to the previous owner? And that's when he was informed that, oh, she's gone. She went straight to Valhalla. Corporate's taking this over now. And he was like, okay, well, what about my collection? All that vintage Star Wars that you have in your store right now on your shelves, that's ours. And we haven't been paid for it. We have a contract. We have all of this evidence of this deal and still haven't been paid. And things soured. They weren't willing to play ball with that, and then eventually it led to Brian and the store here, the new guy, clashing, where he was like, okay, so like what's next steps here? Maybe we go to court. and the guy, according to Brian, crossed his arms, and really, he had an exorcism moment there. He let the mask slip, he let the evil out.
I see.
And was basically just threatening him, saying, like, look, if we go in this route, we are going to basically bleed you dry. We are going to drain the piss from your balls legally, and it will end up costing you more than you would have ever gotten for this collection in the first place. So if that's what you want to do, buckle your seatbelt. That kind of thing.
Okay,
and Brian
for sure.
Like, okay, well, what was I supposed to do? Because Brian's father, the owner of this collection, has had health problems, and it's not exactly something they can afford to do, getting into this extremely lengthy, extremely expensive legal battle. So now that brings us to Reckless Ben's involvement here, because there aren't a ton of options for Brian's family. And since that interaction, they have been flooding their social media page with those vintage Star Wars Legos that they still haven't paid for, which feels like they are just gloating and goatseeing, just openly mocking
the fact that he can't do anything about it because he's not a corporation.
Family.
And why are the cops not helping?
But luckily for Brian, a YouTuber ended up catching wind of this story and created a team of YouTubers to do whatever they could to get Brian his Legos back.
This is the full inventory of all the sets and minifigs.
We can figure out how to get this guy his money and his stuff back.
But right after they started, they instantly stopped working on this case. So I called one of them to find out why.
So they were threatening legal action against us. You know, Bricks and Minifigs, which is a pretty big company who probably has way more resources than we can, you know, really put up a fight against.
Bricks and Minifigs knows that they can just bully anyone that tries to expose them with frivolous lawsuits.
You're telling me this company is going to sue anybody who tries to help this man? That's insane. That's crazy.
So this story here wasn't something that totally flew under the radar. There were people that knew about it. So there was a group of YouTubers that wanted to try their best to get him his money for his collection. But when they picked up the case, they were allegedly threatened with legal action from Bricks and Minifigs, which is something we've seen countless times in the past with these corporations, that when some of the dirtiness starts to hit the mainstream, they then lash out litigiously to silence them. Like Reckless Ben says, to bully them into this submission, because they know they have more money and they are going to use that against these YouTubers that don't have the means of fighting against a company of their size. Now, what happens next in the video is something I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share. In Reckless Ben's video, I've noticed he's edited it to have like blurs around the video, but it's not actually blurring anything, but I think he was trying to with the YouTube editing tool. So I'm just going to describe what happens, and if you want to see it, go to Reckless Ben's video for it. But he actually goes directly to the Bricks and Minifig, 16-hour drive with his friends. He went there and he was wearing the glasses that you can...
Yeah, the meta glasses.
You've seen a bunch of fucking TikTok pranksters using for nefarious means, but he goes there and he just asks the employee, hey, I'm here inquiring about Brian's collection. He uses the name Brian. And immediately, they've only had like 2 sentences shared between them where he says, hello, and she says, hello, you know, how are you, that kind of thing. And then he says, hey, I'm here to ask about this Lego collection from Brian. And then she instantly says, you need to leave. And then she starts putting up a big stink about how she's being harassed, even though he hasn't said anything else. He's just mentioned Brian's Legos and asked, you know, like, what's the deal with all of that? She instantly starts playing this card of like, he's harassing me, holy fuck! It hurts!
I have to see this. I have to see this for myself. I'm so sorry.
About like, check the cameras. This fucking creep psychopath has come in harassing me, all because he's asked about Brian's Legos. She then tried to give him the runaround, saying, like,
Hold
this is
on,
corporate,
I'm gonna
not
find
me.
it.
Scram,
This man's...
dweeb, take it up with corporate. But he already went to corporate, and he showed more footage of that interaction where they at corporate were saying, well, you gotta take it up with her. So they're just giving him the...
Hold on. I got it. I got to see this. I'm so sorry. I have to see this. I can't let this go.
To film this, and honestly, I kind of just want to hear Bricks and Minifig side of the story.
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's pretty good. So basically, my friend said that
You guys have some of his Legos, I think, and he told me to come here and see if I could pick them up.
Who's your friend?
I think they're Brian's Legos. It's like a big Star Wars collection set, I think.
You could go ahead and leave now.
Really?
So you could go ahead and leave now, or I will call the police for harassment.
Well, I'm not harassing you.
No, you are. Hi. You want to watch the cameras? I'm being harassed. Watch the cameras. I am being harassed. You need to leave.
Literally, all I did was just bring up that my friend has some Legos in their store, and
Ma'am?
the manager started freaking
Ma'am? I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
out on me. But I wasn't going to leave the store without hearing her side of the story. Before showing up, I printed out a copy of the contract the store made with Brian, saying that all of these Lego sets will remain his until sold. Because I have a contract, legal reason to be here, legally this does not count as harassment. Instead, the manager should be checking the store's inventory to see if these sets are still in their store. Well, so here's still all of the Lego sets you guys still have.
I don't have anything to do with that, and I don't want that. You can go ahead
What
and
do you
leave,
mean
but I'm
you
gonna
don't
ask
want
you one
that?
more time. This is the last time. I do not want that. You're not handing me anything.
I tried for a long time just to get her to look at this contract, but finally she gave me an answer of why she can't help me.
He's been supposed to be getting a hold of corporate.
Basically what the manager's saying is that if someone did steal the Legos, it wasn't her, it was corporate. But little does the manager know, I already did this. Yep, I literally went to the corporate bricks and minifigs.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your service. That was fucking insane. Thank you for telling me that you were gonna call the. That was. Alright, that was crazy to watch in real life.
Just sending him on a wild goose chase here. This game of hot potato that nobody wants to actually, take responsibility for. Eventually, he does get the owner of that shop on the horn and says, hey, I'm looking to get these Legos back for my friend. And he keeps saying, why do you think you're entitled to our inventory? And then he
It's not yours!
Hey, look, I have the contract. These are still his Legos. And by the contract that they have, Brian, with this store, seems like they are indeed still his Legos. So he's saying, hey, they're his. And he goes, you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you an idiot? That's what the owner keeps saying to this guy. And then the police arrive.
We just have them in the store and we just like to pick them up, I guess, because they were going to sell it for us, but I guess they're not selling it for us anymore.
But does it sound like they want you here, right? So
Okay, so he has a contract with the. You cannot tell me, sir. It doesn't matter whether they want him there or not.
That's so, yeah.
I understand that. Right here, the factor is that they don't want you. They're a private owned store, and they don't want you on the front. Okay.
But I don't want them to keep the Lego sets, though.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
The police officer literally didn't care at all that the store just stole $200,000 worth of Legos. For some reason, he made it seem like I was the bad guy.
So you are trespass from here. So
okay.
Trespass for life. So if you come back.
Oh, for life?
Yeah. If you come back, you could be arrested.
This part I feel like I can show. This is now outside of the business interacting with law enforcement.
Okay,
so I'm
cool.
pretty sure this one's okay. You can see this interaction. So the officer shows up because the lady had called the police about all of this, and he is now being trespassed for life. He is blacklisted from entering this bricks and minifigs forever, till the heat death of the universe. And Reckless Ben is trying to explain, hey, I'm here because we had a deal. They're not selling the Legos, so I'm here to try and get them back. And he's not listening to it at all. He's not even entertaining.
He's literally not listening to him. He doesn't want to look at the paperwork.
Maybe he had a reason to be here. Maybe there is something going on.
Brian did warn me that the police are actively trying to cover this up. So Brian and I are now officially trespassed from the store. And if we ever come back to ask for his own Lego collection back, then we are going to be arrested. Is there, I guess, a reason why they're able to just take all the Legos and not give it back, or?
So we just gotta leave.
Okay, that's not an answer.
Now, I've watched
That's not a fucking answer.
I'm something of a connoisseur of body cams, and this behavior from the officer is a little peculiar because in instances of someone being trespassed, I've usually seen a conversation about what was your purpose here? Why were you here in the first place? And
I don't think that's a real cop. I feel like that dude's fucking impersonating an officer.
And then he's even asking the officer, well, what can I do to get it back then? And instead of answering that question, he's just nope, you've just got to leave. Which is odd, because typically, if there is an actual reason for them being there, the officer, in the past from what I've seen, has guided them to hey, we'll take it up with this department, or we can look into this later, file a report, that kind of thing. The officer's not doing anything like that. He is instantly just shutting that shit down, putting the kibosh on it, just reiterating that you've got to leave. And I understand he was called there solely to trespass him, But even still, he can say, like, we can handle this, you know, through the official channels, through this way, if there is actually a
cops,
grievance
am I
here,
right,
but for
is
now,
fair.
you
But,
just have to leave
like,
the
dog,
property.
you're not
That's
even
how she
trying
would
to do
handle
your
it in the past.
job.
Now, since he was trespassed from that location, he went back to corporate and actually talked with the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs. His name is Ammon McNeff, and he just instantly goes liar, liar, pants on fire mode. Again, this is filmed with his glasses here, so I don't know if I'm allowed to show it, but if you want to see it, I guess while it's still up on Reckless Ben's channel, you can go see how this went. But he is now denying that they even have Brian's Legos. He's like, who is Brian? I've never heard of that guy. So then Ben pulls up their social media showing all the posts that they have made about Brian's collection, his vintage Star Wars Legos, showing them that they are literally flaunting it, and even showing, like, where they talk about the value of his collection, showing it to his face that they do have his Legos. So even though he keeps like, outright denying it, their own social media betrays his words. It then goes the same way it always seems to with these Bricks and Minifigs zombies. This guy actually has a cartoonishly evil mustache. He's got a twirled mustache, and he ends up just saying, you know what, you're wrong, get the fuck out of here, don't know what you're talking about, if you come back, you'll be arrested. So he gets the police on there, and he's basically been trespassed there, so he can't step foot. He then, through a series of plans, gets a employee of the store on his side, gets the owner's number, and then calls the owner directly, and finally presents the contract to the owner, who is once again doing the same thing the CEO was, saying, I don't know what Legos you're talking about, we don't have these Legos, what are you blabbering about, weirdo? So he sends him the contract, and he's like, oh, well, I never signed that contract, there's no signed contract with me. And he's right, because it is the previous owner's name on there. But the thing is, when they took it over, they said that they are taking on those previous business agreements. Mm-hmm. They are taking on the consignments.
That's what they're saying.
This Lego collection that they had from Brian.
I feel like if they go to court, there's no way that they can't win. Like, there's no way they don't win this case.
So that excuse can't work. I don't feel like there's some legal loophole there when they
there is no. I feel like there is no way
to take on
that
these
even
according to
if you take this man to court, there is no universe where you win. There is no way you can keep it in court that long. There's no way. Because what is your reasoning for not being able to show up? What's the reason? Oh, well, we're a company and we're pretty busy. Nigga, you better find the time or you're held in contempt and then you just fucking lose. That's not, you can't just fucking hold a court case forever. There's no universe that there is a way for lawyers to just infinitely hold a court case and they never, ever, ever, ever have to listen to the case. What is the legal loopholes that I wish Sheriff was here and he didn't become a lawyer so fast so that I could ask him these questions. Cause how, Sway? How? It's not possible. There's no way. Listen, you can run it all the way up the flagpole if you want, but there is no universe where you just never ever get this case heard. There's no way.
What we have evidence of. So I feel like there's no way that they could weasel themselves out of it, like actually by law. It feels highly illegal what they're doing. And once again, these brainwashed ghouls at Bricks and Minifigs devolve into the same thing. You're harassing me! I'm calling the cops. So once he is basically, putting the fucking full Nelson here, the contract is there, he tries to claim that's not how the law works. We don't take on the business that we take over. So like this previous owner's contract no longer includes us, even though we're still selling that inventory, and even though the contract is still applicable to the business we took over, even though it's just not my name on there, so it doesn't count, which means we don't actually have to pay for this collection that we have an agreement with and that we are still actively selling.
You can't
You guys are wrong, you're harassing me, and I'm calling the cops.
If you don't have an agreement with the person, then you cannot sell it.
Talks about how when he tried to sue them, I forgot to mention, the owner, of course, tried to play hardball saying, well, sue me then. If that's how the law works, sue me. Because he knows that as this big corporation, they have enough resources to drag it out and make it very painful for just the average Joe Schmo. And then Brian starts to talk about how when he did try and sue them, go through the legal channels, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Or
obviously.
Easy.
Brian already tried to sue him, and it didn't work.
We've been to a couple attorneys, and they basically spelled it out, saying here's the path that's going to happen if you go down each of these routes. They're now in Spain, so we're getting into that whole international thing just to have them an injunction on the store to have them go back and prove what they sold and not. And that's like $60,000 to $70,000.
Yeah, Bricks and Minifigs knows that Brian and his dad don't have nearly enough resources to sue a company as big as Bricks and Minifigs.
He's like, we're gonna keep these. You're gonna walk away from this. You're not coming back. And if you choose to sue us, we will drag this out in court till it is well past what this collection is worth.
Which is something he touched on earlier with the initial threats that were made against him when he tried to inquire about either the payment for his father's Lego collection, which they have, or getting the Legos back, which they're refusing to do. They have this huge inventory that they have not paid for. They have not fulfilled the obligations of the contract with the store, and he is not getting them back, and they're saying he's not entitled to it. It's so fucking disgusting, man.
Their tagline, because it's boring, and I changed it to "We steal from old people." And now the tagline's actually accurate. Also added a cute little company logo. And this is my plan of how I'm gonna make it into court with Bricks and Minifigs for free. Is where I'm gonna make my grand reveal. You see, this entire time, my company name was actually called We Steal From Old People. Yeah, the words Bricks and Minifigs, that's just the company tagline. In America, there's no specific law that says whether the tagline has to be above or beneath the company name, so I'm just allowed to do this.
So his plan basically became to...
There's no way you're allowed to do that.
Bricks and Minifig into opening a lawsuit against him.
Bitch, there's no way that you're allowed to do that.
Stolen their name. And his Uno reverse card was, didn't steal their name. That's the tagline. The name of the company is actually We Steal From Old People. So he did actually incorporate it. He does have a website for We Steal From Old People.
That's funny.
Where they're like selling merch and all of that. And I'm not a fucking lawyer. I don't know.
I don't know if you can do that.
Doodle up here, it feels like since he did take directly their logo, Bricks and Minifigs, it would still probably be a problem. Even if it isn't the name of the company, it's still just being like the tagline and forward facing. Probably creates brand confusion that could get him on the hook for an issue.
I don't think that fucking matters though. I feel is brand confusion a thing? Because I don't think that fucking matters. Walgreens and CVS are literally the exact same building and the exact same font. Everything is the same except for the name. CVS and Walgreens are the exact same store. Like, I don't think it fucking matters, honestly.
And tons in legal fees to sue them. Flip it so that way they are paying the legal fees to sue Ben. So that way they can get into court with them and hopefully reveal their shady, potentially illegal business practices. Now, the next sections in the video are highly entertaining to watch, but ultimately don't accomplish the goal of getting Bricks and Minifigs in court. They go back to the CEO, who is now aware of what they've been doing, which was like selling outside of their store, that kind of stuff, and the We Steal From Old People thing. And they are a registered business, and he now knows that, and he knows that they can just keep kicking the can down the road, passing the responsibility off to franchisees instead of corporate, and that law enforcement won't step in because it's a civil matter. So the CEO is aware of all that, and thus is avoiding doing anything litigious against them. And so they try like a raffle scheme to get like the cops on their side. Ultimately, it doesn't work. The cops are very much against them, trying to like get any kind of investigation into the actual Legos that they are still having without paying for them. The cops really do not like these guys because they keep getting calls about like trespassing them, harassment this, harassment that. So they are very much not looking to really investigate their claims about like they have these Legos, they haven't paid for it, which is illegal. Like that.
Like, it is illegal. I have the fucking contract.
Criminal lawsuit.
Would anybody like to fucking do their job?
A criminal lawsuit if they are knowingly selling this product that they have not paid for, knowing that it is not even owned by them via the contract they have. Like, I feel like that would get close to a criminal case that would warrant some kind of like actual investigation. But they're not willing to even take those first steps because Bricks and Minifigs just keeps calling the cops out here about like trespass them, they're harassing, and they're hatching these like wacky schemes to try and get Bricks and Minifig to engage legally with them so that way they can open it up to more with how they've been doing their business. And it just ultimately wasn't working. Now what it does do, and again, I don't think I can show any of the footage here from it, but what it does do is it whittles down the owner, Josh, where it does seem like he starts to get really antsy and start to kind of panic a little bit. So he has another conversation with Ben, and he's like, look, this is what I need. I'll give the Legos back if I get a written apology from Brian. Dweeb, you're such a fucking twerp, Josh. All of the negative comments taken off. Only positive reviews, that kind of thing. So he is like actually holding the Legos hostage for these deliverables here. Fucking loser, man.
Yeah, so basically before Brian can get his Star Wars Lego collection back, he has to write Bricks and Minifigs an apology letter for making this Facebook post. Bricks and Minifigs really doesn't like this Facebook post being up, because in this Facebook post, Brian calls Bricks and Minifigs out for stealing his Lego Star Wars collection.
Good.
I'm not apologizing for shit.
I agree, but it sucked. But here's like where we're at, right? If you could just write the letter, like we can get the Legos back.
I walked in there with the best of intentions. Here's proof of my collection in the store. I want it back, and they've done nothing but lie and make my life a living fucking hell over this. I've gone through 9 months of anxiety, stress, hospital-ridden, medication-taking types of burden.
I'm not downplaying what happened to you. It's just,
No, I am not apologizing to this fucking asshole.
It is just
you're
egregious
a
to
dickhead.
demand that the guy who only wants to either get the Legos back that his father has collected over the course of his life, or get paid for the Legos that you still have from his father's collection, is the one that is needing to apologize. I agree with Brian. Like, on pure principle alone, that's just totally fucking unacceptable.
It's fucking insanity.
Like, to be the insufferable asshole who is knowingly engaging in this shadiness. I'll call it shadiness, but I think it's far harsher than that, but that's just allegedly. And then demanding that the guy who is representing his father, who is medication-ridden, who is not in the best of health, and only wanted to sell the collection to help with their living situation, is actually like the bad guy here, is just completely
It's
crazy.
fucking insane.
Plus, I don't trust them.
This is
I
stupid.
also would think even if Brian did write that apology and take down the negative posts,
He did
and
confess to the theft because he's like, I will give you back these stolen items if you give me these things. He basically is, that's a ransom.
If they would just then use that as evidence when they do get to the next steps, like, oh no, look, Brian apologized, so Brian was in the wrong. It was a big misunderstanding. See, Brian apologized, because then they would have that in writing and they'd be able to use that. It would likely be admissible in court should it get there. So I would also be wary of doing this for that reason too. I don't think even if he did start writing the apology, it's the most sincere thing ever, I still don't think they would actually give him his Legos back. It would just be used as a weapon against him. And this is something that Brian also made a mention of as it being a trap. And Ben actually had a really good idea here. So he once again contacted Josh, like, okay, Brian's going to make an apology video so that way we can move this along and get the Legos back. But what he did is he actually took a screenshot of Brian from an earlier conversation and had his friend do the audio and then just basically deep-faked Brian's apology video. But it was never Brian apologizing. It was his friend's statements coming out of Brian's mouth that was loosely lip-synced to it, and then sent it to Josh.
Hi, I'm Brian Mansell.
And after just a little bit of deep faking, it now looks like this.
Hi, I'm Brian Mansell, and I apologize sincerely for accusing you guys of stealing my Legos. I was wrong, and you were right.
This is the ultimate test. Was Josh being sincere, or was this all just one big trick?
Josh then took the apology and he said, oh, this is so nice. This is so big of you. I can't wait to give your Legos back. You have my word, and that's not who I am. But you also need to go apologize to Amanda. So Ben goes to try and apologize to Amanda after getting permission from Josh, the owner, to go there, even though he's been trespassed. He shows up. Amanda instantly tries to call the police to have him arrested. So that didn't go over super well. That does seem like they were just trying to get him arrested there. But then he calls Josh. He's like, oh, dag nabbit, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe she'd do that. Anyway, let's work on getting those Legos back, shall we? Well, wouldn't you believe it? Tons of time passes by. They keep stalling. Like, oh yeah, no quick update.
I'm sorry.
Soon
I'm just
we'll have
like,
it.
what is
These
happening?
are all conversations that he's had over the phone with these fucking monsters over there. Again, this is Legos, by the way. And they just keep not giving the Legos over a week, 2 weeks. I already forgot, but it was a long time had passed. And then they eventually try making peace with Amanda again, which is the lady from the very beginning who just keeps getting the police on the horn to try and have them arrested. And that's still not working. And then it turns out, apparently, they don't have his Legos to give back anyway. He's saying the shelves are empty. There's no Legos to even give back.
Because you sold them.
Which is very contradictory to what Josh said not too long ago about like, oh, yeah, we'll definitely give it back.
They probably just gave them to another store.
And they'd stalled for so long about, oh, yeah, the Legos are coming. Just, big hiccup here, unforeseen circumstances there, that kind of thing. But now they're saying, oh, no, we just don't have it to give back. So these are just actual fucking degenerate scammers, allegedly, is what it looks like. These are just fucking awful people here at Bricks and Minifigs.
Yes, correct.
So basically, these are my two options. I can do what Josh wants me to do and shut up, which I can say right now, I'm definitely not doing that. So what's the alternative? I can, I guess, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars somehow, and then maybe spend 3 to 4 years in court fighting them, and somehow, if I win, then we can finally get the family their Legos back. Yeah, both of these options suck. Or maybe I can somehow find a way to engineer a third option, which I call option number 3.
Okay.
Small claims court. Think about it. Small claims court is basically just like big boy court, except it costs basically nothing, and you get a judgment pretty much instantly.
After another hostile conversation with Josh, where
I
Josh
guess
is
that's pretty
melting
good.
down again after still not giving the Legos back after he promised he would do. And again, Josh is a man of his word, according to the phone calls here. It now has boiled down to only one option left, which is small claims court, because the big court is way too expensive. Now, what happened next, I couldn't actually believe. I was stunned. I can't recommend watching this video enough. They went through all the proper motions and channels from what I can see. Again, I'm not an expert, but it looks like they did squeak out the W with the small claims. Like, they didn't actually show up or do anything like they were supposed to. Bricks and Minifig, that is. So, Ben and the gang, they did win that, and when they went to collect, they actually shut down the store permanently. That was their response to it.
Shut the fuck up. They did not shut the store down permanent. There's no way that you can do that. There is no way. There's no way that you can do that. There's no fucking... What the fuck are we talking... For, like, oh my god, for $200,000 worth of Legos. I cannot. Okay.
They just closed operations of that location. Holy shit.
Since they didn't respond, you can move forward with a motion for default judgment.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Since Bricks and Minifigs didn't respond, it looks like we win by default. Congratulations. You won the court case.
Wait, what?
I couldn't believe it. Literally one day after we filed motion for default judgment, they permanently closed down the store. At first, it did feel kind of cool that our plan worked so well, it completely shut them down. But pretty quickly it sunk in that we are not the winners here. The only winners today is Bricks and Minifigs.
What a shit fucking company.
Absolutely no way to hold this store liable for what they did. I guess Bricks and Minifigs was kind of embarrassed by this decision and forgot to mark online that their store is closed. So over the next few days, a bunch of negative reviews started coming in of people expecting an open store, but then being met with this.
Fucking cinema. Like, yes, it is not a good ending because now they still haven't paid Brian for the collection, and they still got to get away with all of it.
Yeah,
they just
what
closed
the fuck?
this one store, but they're still a big corporation. So, like Ben said, they are still kind of the winners here, even though they lost the small claims court here. They just shut this down and move on. But it did end with a flood of negative reviews for Bricks and Minifigs because, well, they didn't even really inform their customers about this closure because it was so instantaneous after the small claims default judgment, I guess.
I mean, hey.
Pretty fucking wacky. What a diabolical company.
That's so
This
shit.
is all over Legos, by the way. And the cops at no point were ever on like the side of Ben, and yet still they were able to squeeze out something I think pretty impressive.
Yeah,
here.
that's
The
pretty
cops
good.
were always
Even
on
though
Bricks and
literally
Minifig's
nobody
side,
wanted to do their
even at
fucking
times
job.
seemingly going out of their way to be on their
I
side.
can't believe nobody wanted
which
to do
is
their job.
Extremely annoying. Like I don't think they were getting, money under the table for their cooperation or anything like that.
I think they were just bad at their jobs.
I guess they just believe that the business can do no wrong and that this must just be some wacky psycho doing shit to be disruptive. But really, Bricks and Minifigs are the bad guys here from all available evidence.
And the only way to let the world know is for me to give them an official closing ceremony. I guess someone driving by happened to take a picture of the sign we put up and posted it on social media. And pretty much immediately, we started going
shit.
absolutely
Oh shit!
The entire world has now seen this crime that Bricks and Minifigs has committed. And because of this, they finally marked on Google that their store is permanently closed.
I've been reading about this Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon.
GG, well played.
It's been over a week. The sign is still up, and people have been traveling from all over just to come and take a picture with this sign.
If you drive through Kozer, you may have noticed a mysterious sign appear recently outside the closed Mini Bricks and Fig store.
Banger. That's so
amazing.
Good. So the sign popped
That's a
off
W.
here because it's the only way to let people know why that store's closed, what all has happened there, what's gone on, why is it no longer operational? And then it just started to naturally, organically catch wind online in the Lego community, and then exploded beyond the Lego community. And apparently all of this is still just the first part of this saga here, this Lego adventure.
What do you mean?
Part 2's up on his Patreon, and he gave a sizzler reel where apparently he is in handcuffs, him and his whole group.
What?
I don't know how it pops off to
What?
that degree, because it looks like they're at their own home with it. It's seemingly pretty fucking wild in part 2, but yeah, even just part 1 had me stunned. The depth of depravity for Lego.
This is insane. Why did they not just give this man his money?
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
I had to yap about this. It was an incredible video. Again, I highly recommend you go watch the entire thing from Reckless.
Nah, dog, I got you.
I just couldn't help but blabber about it. Fucking home run of a video here. And a big fuck you to Bricks and Minifigs.
I agree with that.
That's really about it. So yeah.
Thanks, Charlie.